6, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Essex here to answer a couple of questions that you guys left in the comments on the last video regarding my LX3310 tractor. I actually realized here that I haven't shown you very many of the details on this machine. I actually shot a video explaining some of the things that are outfitted on my tractor and forgot that I had a problem with my editing computer and actually lost that video. So I'm going to show you a couple of the accessories that I chose to put on this tractor, tell you a little bit about my R14 tires, and also leave some fine print down here at the bottom of part of why I haven't said too much about these things so far. So the first question I'm going to respond to here is in regards to my work lights and also the Artillian toolbar here on the back of my tractor. If you haven't noticed, you're going to see a lot of guys on YouTube sporting this stuff on their machines. That is because this stuff was provided to me for free by Artillian. We are a retailer for them. We do sell their stuff. You can go to Messix.com and choose to add work lights and that kind of stuff to your shopping cart if you're buying your parts and accessories from us. That's something that we do support them with. In addition to them providing this stuff to me for free, I do sell their stuff. I am one of their dealers. So couldn't possibly have more bias than what you're going to get from me, right? You always got to look at guys on YouTube and, you know, understand the lens that they're coming to you from. But this is stuff that I legitimately do feel pretty good about. The work light kit that they sell is a $250 work light kit. Like most Artillian accessories, they are a little bit more on the pricey side. I would say for the most part, you can justify most of those prices because they are clearly a little bit more high-end products. They're well thought out stuff that's really well engineered. I use their work lights here attached to their toolbar. So kind of to give the whole perspective here of how all this stuff works together, there's actually two different accessory kits that you're looking at here when you see it set up on my tractor. It's the light itself and the toolbar mounting, and then in this case I have a metal basket on the back of the toolbar. The light kit itself is that $250 kit. I like the light kit a lot for a couple different reasons. One of them is the mounting flexibility. They have a lot of nice brackets that they make. When you look at their light kit itself, all of the wiring, the loom tubing, the electrical connectors, the switches, everything that you could possibly need is included in their kit. It's very comprehensive. It's a very good quality light. It has a good solid enclosure to it, and then they make this cool mounting system that actually rotates. So if you're out doing a different task and you want this light to point more to the side or to point more down towards the ground, it's very easy in order to adjust the light to go into whatever position you want without having to loosen bolts and that kind of stuff. A lot of times when we have like lights up on a U-bracket or something and you turn it, you end up inadvertently loosening a nut or something like that while making those adjustments. But this is all a cool spring-loaded system for angling it around. So I think highly of them, even though I am a retailer. I think this is probably one of the best lighting systems that's out there for your tractor. And really, all told, if you compare this against the OEM LED lighting systems, it's really not actually all that expensive for high quality LED stuff. You can get a lot of less expensive stuff from Amazon and that kind of thing and work something up for less money, but I'll tell you, the convenience and the quality of what they sell here, in my opinion, is worth a little bit of extra money. Now, I chose to attach these things down here on the side, and I set my Artillian toolbar up a little bit differently than some. Now, I have several pieces of equipment. I own a zero-turn mower, an RTV, and a tractor. I have one of these toolbars for each one, and I've had a lot of success setting that toolbar up on my zero-turn mower. That's worked out really well. I've experimented with several different solutions now, having it on my RTV. I haven't found one that I've liked yet, but I do like the setup here on the tractor, and I did it a little bit differently than what they would tell you to in the installation instructions. Generally, you're going to use this mounting bar on here with U-bolts through it in order to set this bar on the back of your tractor. Now, in my case, I didn't want this as far behind the tractor as what they actually intended for. So I used some other holes that were up in here in order to cheat the bar closer to the tractor. Now that left me then with this portion of the mounting plate sticking further forward, and that's where I chose in order to put the work lights on. So I like this. I think it's a cool solution. It's all worked out really well together installed on the tractor. But no, if you follow the directions, this is not at all how it was intended. And I like the Artillian stuff for that. When I use these toolbars and kind of experimented with their accessories and stuff, it's very easy to kind of roll your own solution. They leave a lot of intelligent holes and hardware and stuff that you're given that make it easy to come up with your own solution, even if it's not exactly the way that they intended it. So you'll see here from the operator's station, it's pretty easy to work with this stuff. So when I look over here at my lights, you'll notice here that I positioned the switches for them right up here on the top, so that's really easy to toggle. I wired them into the factory work light connections that are down underneath the rear fender. I need to do a video on this, is where to find all of the factory work light connections. It's really easy. There's typically an open pigtail for the hot, and then you just find a bolt somewhere to get a good ground. Then on the back of this toolbar back here, you can swap out a number of different options that Artillian has here for the back of your tractor. There's a metal basket, which this is. There's also a plastic toolbox. There's a chainsaw holder. There's 5-gallon bucket attachments. There's about 6 or 8 different things now that they have that will attach onto this toolbar. My favorite of which is this metal basket. It's really heavy. It's really durable. I chuck all of my connectors and that kind of stuff into the back of here. It's a really nice storage container. If I have any complaint about it, it's sometimes pins and that kind of stuff, say metal things, tend to rattle a little bit on top of the metal. So I usually throw like my hardware and that kind of stuff either into my tractor's toolbox, or I keep it inside of a fabric bag when it's back here in the basket. If that's your intention for this, you might like their big heavy plastic toolbox better than the metal basket for that reason, if you're going to be carrying hardware and stuff, in order to keep that rattly sound down. But I like the convenience of this, to be able to jump off the tractor and throw trash and that kind of stuff right into the back of it. It's really handy, not having a lid to open and that kind of stuff. So this thing tends to live on the back of my tractor more often than not. Okay, so soapbox a little bit on the R14 tires. One thing that annoys me about watching other people do tractor videos on YouTube is that all too often videos are shot and produced and posted without the person making them really thoroughly understanding their tractor or their equipment or how to operate things properly. The number of videos that are out there of, hey, I broke this, and it really wasn't the fault of the machine, it was the person using the equipment not really understanding how to do it properly, or making snap judgments about a piece of equipment that somebody only has a handful of hours on. I understand the excitement of owning a new piece of equipment, but I don't think that does a whole lot of justice to possibly you as a viewer trying to learn about machinery or consider, trying to get the details in order to make a purchase. So I didn't want to say too much about these tires yet, because at this point, while I have 25 hours or so on this tractor and I own the predecessor model to this, I only actually have about 2 hours of use on the tires themselves. So I don't want to make snap judgments about these, because my usage of them at this point has been fairly limited. You may watch other YouTube channels. Tractor Time with Tim took my old R14s. So I had several months here where I wasn't able actually to get out and use this thing with these tires on it. So at this point, my experience with the R14s has been limited to some videos and stuff that you may have seen that I shot with this flail mower, and doing some work back here in this kind of swampy area, using the flail and cleaning up some of the grass. You'll notice here that the cleating is all packed full of mud right now. There's big chunks and stuff back in here. So the area that I was working in back here has several springs and stuff in it, and those spots get really, the grass gets really high, it grows really fast, and I couldn't mow them with my zero-turn mower because I keep getting stuck. So bringing this out worked really well, no trouble whatsoever in really sloppy, dirty, you're talking 8 or 10 inches of soft mud. Tractor cruised right through it without any issue. I also used the flail out in what is not finished lawn, more of an open field if you think of it as pasture. I didn't do any turf damage out there at all, even running in 4-wheel drive. So I know a lot of you are looking for quick opinions on these things, these hybrid tires. There's a lot to like about them. They seem to fill a lot of interesting use cases for people. Guys want a lot of information, but I would still say today, I feel like we really don't have great reports from the field from people that own these things and have really put the time in to understand what they're like in the real world. So I wouldn't hesitate to buy a set, I think very positively about them at this point, but I'm going to reserve kind of my final judgment on them until I really get a lot of time out in more of a turf application. Off-road, they're fantastic. I've run a set in the snow before. I really like them there as well. But it's the turf damage side that I'm a little concerned about because you do have a lot of cleat here. Now, granted, that cleat is made to minimize turf damage, but I can't really speak well to that yet. So we're gonna wait until I get more time on to really make a video specifically all about these tires. But for those of you that asked, that's kind of my snap judgment. And we'll do a full video on them later once I really have had that experience to talk knowledgeably about them. Got a few notes on my LX3310, my tires, my Artillian stuff. There's some other interesting things on this machine yet as well. I've got a lot of work to do this spring. Actually, my honey-do list right now is a lot longer than usual. I'm really looking forward to actually getting some good seat time in for once and enjoying it. Being out in the tractor for me is getting work done, but like it is for many of us, you know, these are tools, but they can also be toys at the same time. And it's one of the most relaxing things that I get to do. Even after spending a long day at work working on this kind of stuff, I'm always happy to get out and get in the seat of my machine. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, or you have parts and service needs for your equipment, me and all the guys here at Messick's are glad to help you. Give us a call at 800-222-3373 or check us out at Messick's.com.